welcome to Joyfido International. So how are you today? Well, this is our channel where we like to share our experiences of life with you. And you know what we stand for. We stand for empowering your success. We like to share our experiences with you that empowers you to make sense of life. Before we start, I'm going to say a big thank you to everyone who's been reaching out to us and thanking us for supporting them. Because what we stand for is not what you go into the shops and buy. You don't go into the shop and say, I want to understand my well-being, or my mental health, or my personal development, or motivation, or inspiration. These are things that people don't think about, but these are things that we all need. Because years ago when I started, if I did not go onto the journey of having what they call, self-development, empowerment, I would have been lost. And when I realized that that really helped me, hence you see me with all these books that I'm constantly reading, I felt really indebted to society to share my experiences with people. And that's what took me on this journey. So today's topic, as usual, is something exciting, something that, again, comes from deep in my heart, something that I've experienced and something that I think will benefit you. So as usual, if you're new to this channel, we'll say a big thank you for coming by. I would like you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know whenever we share something. But of course, what we're doing now is every week we're sharing something. So we look forward to seeing you if you're new and you begin to understand what we stand for. But of course, to our all subscribers and all of you who've been with us on this journey, we say a big thank you. So what's today's topic? I call it lock the door to your heart or to your mind. Lock the door. Why is it so important? Now, this is something that really hit me the other day. I was just thinking about how do we really operate our mind? Now, our mind is that place that creates who we are. Because everything that goes on in our mind is what we actually bring into our physical being. That's what becomes who we are. And how do we differentiate between the number of things that come into our mind? Because research has shown that there's so many billions of thoughts that go through our mind in a day. And then how do we separate which one we use and which one we don't use? Which one we bring into reality and which one that stays up there and disappears into the sky? So our mind is what keeps us going. And you know what they say about the mind, body and spirit. Without the mind, the body cannot operate on its own. And the spirit is also depending on the mind being able to work with the body. So the three of them become one. And the minute you lose your mind, you hear people say, oh, that one has lost her mind, or that one has lost his mind. The body suddenly becomes hopeless, has no direction, does not know what to do. And then you hear different things like becoming depressed and becoming sad and becoming... It is a big thing going on out there, working with our mind. So the bigger message we're bringing right now or today is, how do you protect that place that we call the mind? This place, it is like a kitchen. You know what our kitchen is? Where we actually go and put together recipes that create the food that we eat. It is that place I would call the sat-nav of your life, where when you put an address on a sat-nav, on either your phone or the main sat-nav itself or whatever, TomTom, and it guides you where to go. That's your mind. It is the head office of your life. It is a place that dictates what you're going to do today, what you're going to do tomorrow, what you're going to do next month, next year. For as long as there's life, everything that makes you who you are goes through that place called the mind. But this is the part that's quite interesting. If your mind is so powerful, and is what dictates what your life is, and is what guides who you become, now there are two sides of mind. Because we've been told that it is our greatest asset. It is the greatest thing that makes us who we are. But there's a downside to the mind. It is our worst enemy. Now we're going to look at the two sides. The greatest side, the power tool, the power engine, the machine that drives us. For the fact that our mind is this important to us, it is so interesting that it is also the same place where we are easily lost. It is the same place where we're easily broken. It is the same place that our destruction comes from. And you know what became quite interesting to me? I was thinking about, in the Bible when God created heaven and God created, and then it went on, and then we had Adam and Eve, and then in the Garden of Eden. But then I had to think about it. Was there really a physical place called Eden? Or was Eden in the mind? Because that's where God operates in our lives. Eden, or our mind, is where God lives in our lives. And so most times when, as Christians, we think until we've gone to church and we've spoken to the Father, we've spoken to the pastor, we've spoken to this man of God, as most people would like to call them, we have not spoken to God. God has not heard our prayers. We get it really wrong. Because for as long as you have a mind, God is in you. God speaks to you every second. And where is that coming from? From your mind. So people who have really learned to use their mind properly, you can train your mind in such a way that you hear every word that God is putting there. You will hear it. It's so clear. When you're thinking about something, this is what I do. When I'm thinking about something and I'm really fuzzy about it, I'm not sure what I want to do with it, I just let it go. I just let it go. Because I know the answer is coming. And that's when you begin to understand that you're actually walking with God. And that's when you begin to understand that you now understand your mind. But like I said, wherever God goes, guess who's going to follow? If you're a Christian, you understand this. The devil always finds his way wherever God is. Why? Because the mission of the devil is always to destroy. So we're talking about what could go wrong in the mind. So as Christians, we know that wherever God is, the devil wants to put itself there. And this is why we just said the mind is our worst enemy. Because in that same mind where all these great things are happening, look at the wonders of the world. Look at the amazing things that man has been able to create. How do you think those things get done? It's clearly with the Spirit of God in us that these thoughts come true. I've heard so many people say they had a dream. I've had that too. Sometimes I'm thinking about something and in a dream the answer comes. That's God speaking to us. Sometimes I'm thinking about something and a thought just hits from nowhere. That's God speaking to us. You may be reading a book, which is why it's so important that we read books. I'm going to stress this over and over. Most of the people who follow me say, thank you so much. You've guided us to understand the value of reading. And thank you, I also read. All the knowledge we seek is already here. It's all over these various books. And so whenever something is coming to you and you want to get an answer to it and you read a book, it will connect. And so God will speak to us through a book, through a movie. through conversations with your friends, through watching the news sometimes. I mean, I know I'm not a huge fan of news because clearly, especially now, there's so much negative news that it is so disempowering. So I'd rather take my time and look for my news. Where is the news? Social media, of course. So God is ready to speak to you in various forms. And one of the best books that guided me on that was this particular book on Conversations with God, which I have the three. He has them in 3 books. There's a book 1, book 2, book 3. Conversations with God explains so much of how God speaks to us. But while He's speaking to us, guess who's also speaking to us? Satan, devil, evil. And that's why sometimes you hear voices. People say, oh, it's only when people are mad. No! Not only when you're mentally ill or when you completely lost your mind, as people will call it. You hear voices, descending voices. I mean, there's a book that's another interesting one, The Power of Now. I have it somewhere there. And he said it got to a point in his life when things were getting so bad that he now told himself, I can no longer live with myself. And after he said that, then he realized what he just said. So who is myself and who is I? I can no longer live with myself. Who is I and who is myself? That became a big question. That led him to write that book, The Power of Now. Because suddenly he realized that he wasn't alone. That there's so many sides of him. And there's the one who's querying, and there's the one who's asking questions, and the one who's relaxed, and the one who's angry. So he had to find a way to deal with these voices. So while God is speaking to you and giving you really amazing positive information and ideas and things to do, devil is on the other hand also saying things to you. Also, why don't you do this to that person? And why do you have to take all this nonsense? Why is this? Why are you letting that happen? Why do you encourage that to? And so something that would not have meant anything to you will suddenly enrage you. Suddenly annoy you. Suddenly you're so angry, you want to react, you want to do something. But you see, while you're taking that action, then something goes wrong. I know, there's some of these things I remember either like a cartoon or something way back then, back home in Nigeria, where this man had done something wrong. I think he went to steal or did something, and he was caught, and then they said, why did you do it? He said, I didn't do it, the devil made me do it. And then the person who arrested him was like, well, I didn't get the devil, I got you. So it is these voices that push us into these actions that sometimes we look back and we say, but why did we do that? Because you responded to a voice in your head. And so locking this door, this is my prayer right now to all of us, including myself. And I'm constantly guarded. I'm now like a policeman watching my actions, watching my mind, the instructions that's coming from there for me to take action. Because it's that physical action that makes a difference. You may think all kinds of thoughts in your head and you don't do anything about it. Oh well, so what? Nobody cares, because like they say, no one's got the key to your heart. No one knows what's going on in your head. I don't know if you watched that movie of those days, Look Who's Talking, when that little baby was just saying things and everything he said, the mother was hearing, or the other way around, I can't remember. But look who's talking. When these things are talking to you and it just stays in your head, it's not a big deal. No one wants to know, because no one's seeing any action happening. But it makes a difference when action takes place and then it affects people. Then suddenly, someone that was otherwise seen as such a nice person, suddenly this bad person. Why? Because this person is taking actions that are not good. Or someone who you probably never thought was going to be of any value to society suddenly is taking such great actions. Oh, look, I never knew that was in that person. It's those voices. So now that these voices are here, we know now that these voices are here. What can we do about them? What can we do about them? This is where this video is coming to talk to you about. This mind of ours is where this battle of life takes place. Our mind is where anger brews, sadness brews, envy brews, jealousy brews, happiness brews, joy brews. You know, all the negatives are brewing in there, and all the sadness and positives are brewing in there. So how do we differentiate between which one to take on and act on? That's where you need to come in. That's where you need to be the bigger person over these voices. And this is where, again, we need to begin to understand that we're not just alone. We're not just alone. We're not just this being walking around without aim, without any purpose. We have bigger purposes in life. We're capable of anything. We can achieve anything. But most times what stops us is the environment we find ourselves in. And, like Dr. Lipton said in this Biology of Belief, it's not the genes that makes those big differences in our lives. What makes the difference is the environment we're in. And I know, like, we may want to talk about it, or sometimes we like to pretend it's not happening, especially for those of us who are from different races, especially in the Western world. The capability we all have as human beings are amazing, are enormous. But what then stops us? Society, where we find ourselves in. I have this other video where I'm saying we have to capitalize on every opportunity that comes our way. But you see, most of us know what we want to achieve, but when we want to put it into action, it doesn't happen. Because so many things are standing on the way and blocking us and stopping us. And you may think, oh yeah, I know exactly who I am, and I know who I want to be, and I want to chase that dream, and I want to achieve that dream. And then you see hurdles everywhere on the way. That is not going to stop us in life. So, as human beings or human spirits, because remember we're Trinity, being the physical being, and then the spirit that guides us, and then the mind that controls both. We need to know that the battle that keeps our life going happens right there in the mind. The mind coordinates our spirit and our physical being. And so, if we can find a way to walk around ourselves to ensure that this evil one that's out there constantly poking information into our head, and we as humans, you'll be shocked to know that we know the difference between right and wrong. We do. We do. You look at people who really do evil things, and sometimes you say, do they really know the difference between right and wrong? They do. But the thing is, it is a matter of choice. So what choice are you going for? Are you going for a choice of, okay, you know what, I don't give two flying monkeys, I don't care about this, I just want to get on with this thing, and so I don't care how many people I have to step over in order for me to achieve what I want? Or I'm going to be human enough to understand that every human being deserves respect, and every human being's got their own dignity, and I'm going to do whatever I want to do in my life with dignity, respecting other people. Those are choices. But all of those choices are going to come from your mind. And you are going to now be the one, be the gatekeeper. You're going to be the gatekeeper of your mind that picks between this good and this bad. You're going to be the one who takes control of your situation. Because it is a battle out there. It is a battle. And the reason I really love to talk about motivation and inspiration and personal development and growth is because whatever it is we are chasing in life, if we don't have control of who we are, those things become distant things from us. They become so difficult to achieve. Because imagine you wake up in a really nasty mood and you can't get up that whole day. And that voice tells you, oh, what's the big deal? It's only today. I mean, it's only one day. So what? Why don't you just relax and do nothing today? I'm not saying don't rest. But when you know you got something to do, why do you have to procrastinate and say until tomorrow? But tomorrow's got what's going to happen tomorrow. You already know tomorrow's got something else to do. So why do you have to push what's supposed to happen today for tomorrow? Because some voice in your head said to you, oh, just relax and forget it. And then if we keep listening to that voice, it keeps telling you, oh, just relax and forget it. You keep doing that, and you know what happens? It becomes a habit. And once you form that habit, what then happens? It becomes difficult to break. So these are the things that creates that change in our lives. And you know what they say, if you want change in your life, you have to change something. And changing something is that voice. You have to stop listening to that negative voice. You have to start allowing yourself to be in a relaxed mood with people around you. Because there's so many things in life that could make your life change. You're more friendly with people around you. You're interacting well with people. You're having a clear plan for what your day should be like. You're actually implementing your day according to your plan. You're taking actions on the things you told yourself you're going to do. How else are you not going to achieve your result? How else? I mean, one of the things, again, biology, I believe, really brought to my attention is this thing called our subconscious. There is nothing in life that's impossible to achieve. Absolutely nothing. All we have to do is allow ourselves to understand that once we instruct our mind to take on a role consistently for a period, and one of the best ones is 90 days. Anything you want to do, consistently do it for 90 days and watch what happens. The subconscious mind will achieve anything that you give it 90 days consistently. And that's one of the rules of life that most of us don't understand. Because what happens is we try something, it doesn't work. It's, no, that thing doesn't work. I'm not even going to waste my energy again. But if you really want that thing, this is a little tip now. Do that thing over and over for 90 days. I mean, I've had, when I teach people braiding and people used to come to me then, because now Corona and everybody is locked up in various forms. And they start training and I talk to them, do this, do this, do this. And they're, no, it's so hard. You make it so easy. I said, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Now what happens is, obviously, the more you do that thing, the more the mind tells itself, this is something that needs to be done. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Why was it difficult the first time? Because it's something brand new. And so the mind is trying to understand, what is this? And so you keep doing it. You say, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I understand this one. And then you keep doing it, it starts to understand better. And better and better. 90 days and watch. You will master that thing. So this is the power this thing called mind brings to us. It's not just your genes. So when most times for children, you tell them go to school and go and study, and it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard, and they don't want to give themselves a chance. And then the next thing you start hearing, oh, but it's not my genes, nobody in my house was intelligent. No! Biology, you believe, explains it. There's no such thing as it is the genes that determined And he's a scientist, and he did all his research to find out what's really going on. So that power in our mind, it's so important. And the bigger things that come out of understanding your mind is, you will know again, you will know when you're interacting with people who really care about you and people who don't care about you. I mean, one of the ones, again, he did was, we are nature, and it's true. We're nature, we're human nature. God created us. Now think about it. Think of the flowers in the garden. Think of the trees in the forest. Think of anything that's planted. The first thing that will allow a plant to grow is a fertile soil. That soil has to be in such a state that when you put a seed in it, it will grow. Because the place is healthy. That's the same thing with us human beings. So you go and put a person in an unhealthy environment and you expect that person to bloom and grow? No. That's just the way it is. So you have to watch the people that are around you. Are they fertile enough ground for you to bloom and grow? Because what then happens is, if you hang around people who really constantly see negatives from you all the time, don't support your growth, don't advise you, don't think there's anything good coming out of you, and all they give you is negative, 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 do you see yourself growing? No. We have to be really careful, because we are human, we are nature. And when you're with people who love and care about you, your natural self will know. No one needs to tell you that this person really cares about you, because you will know. He did an experiment, and this was 2 cells. And in one of the cells, he gave, like toxins and poison and all of that. And the other cell, he gave lots of nutrients and, oxygen and all of that. And guess what happened? The one with toxins withdrew and shrank, while the one with nutrients grew and was going towards light. That's how we are. But you see, that human mind in us can tell when it's dealing with a negative environment or a positive environment. Negative people and positive people. And so, like cactus, we cannot grow where everywhere is dry. We can't. So when human nature should allow us to break down between good and evil, should allow us to use ourselves to know what is good and what is bad, and be there to support other people too. Because it's not enough. I mean, most people, this is what I find interesting. Most people just want to be loved. But why don't people love me? Why don't people love me? But have you loved people enough? You need to show love for you to receive love. There's an interesting message I received the other day, and I was reading. It's really interesting. I don't know if I should even read. It was something like, if you want success, I should look for it and definitely share it with you, because things like that really help us to grow. The few people I actually shared this message with were really grateful that I did. Something like, if you want wealth, they tell you, they actually said something about the laws of our ancestors. Ancient laws that never fail. And it said, to be rich, you have to give. But most of us don't know that. We think, oh yeah, let me just go out there and scam everybody I can scam, so that I can be boasting and telling people how I made 10 figures. But you've gone scamming people. It comes back. For you to be rich, you have to be willing to give. You have to share. And now I understand that very well in business. Because if you're not giving anything, who is going to give you something back? It is that thing you give that gets something back. Is the product you sell that people buy and give you money? Is the service you give, braiding service, food service, hotel service, transport service? When you give something, people give you something back. So to be rich, you have to give. To succeed, you have to serve. So politicians think that way. I'll be the president of a country, but I don't care about the people. I will just buy my way to become the president. You have to serve the people. That's why you chose to be a politician. He said to laugh, you have to make someone laugh. Because it's not enough for you to just be the only one standing there and laughing. You have to make other people laugh for you to laugh. You find it funny what people have done and then you laugh. To prosper, you have to be honest. To excel, you have to be faithful. And to go far, you have to get up early. So you're not just I tried it. I read something the other day and it was like, there's a reason it's okay to wake up 5 a.m. And I thought, okay, but even if I wake up 12 in the afternoon and I go to sleep 12, that's the same number of hours I've spent. But see, this is where the difference is. If you wake up 5 a.m. now, between that 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. most times, everybody else is sleeping, so there's peace. And so the things you want to do, you're getting it. You're calm. You're relaxed. It's just you in your space achieving those things. By 9 o'clock, everybody else has woken up. The whole place is noisy. When you're trying to do something, you're struggling to get it in. So there's a reason people say, wake up when others are sleeping. So there's so many lovely sayings like these that make you think. And I have so many of these things on my Instagram page, Joy Fido. Because even when I'm feeling a bit down, I go there and I listen, I read some of these things, and it gives me messages, and it gives me hope, and it inspires me, and it motivates me. Because, like I said to you, our mind has two major voices fighting this war in us. And that's why some days you look at yourself, you're like, oh no, today I don't feel myself. And then some days, oh my gosh, I'm in such a happy mood. Why do I feel so happy? Because those voices are constantly at war there. So we need to find a way to control them. We need to find a way to work with ourselves. We need to find a way to make sure we're going to, according to our plans, according to the things that we want to see happen, not just act on impulse. Because that impulse is where that negative voice is getting at us. Oh yeah, so somebody looked at me funny, so I'm going to react really badly. When a friend of mine was telling me today, her son was out there on the street fighting, and the next day he's been arrested. Now, what would make someone go that length to physically fight? Because something must have triggered, and this is where the issues are. What triggers us to get into these modes that we're ready to do whatever? Those are the voices. So I hope this message made you think a little bit. I hope I made a bit of sense, and I hope it's something you're going to look back into and use it to reassess your life and reset your life and prepare yourself for bigger things out there. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and thank you so much for watching. Please share with your friends, and as usual, please subscribe if you haven't, and follow us on all the social media. Instagram is Joy Fido. Facebook, I also have Joy Fido there. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. God bless you.